I am so excited. I have an icon in a special industry, Jill Evanko. She is the CEO and president of Chart Industries. Welcome to the Playbook, Jill.
Thanks, David. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Well, you know, I called you an icon for a reason, is that it's so difficult to move up the corporate ladders, especially in certain industries, manufacturing, industrial, energy, all the different kind of male dominated industries throughout the year. It's tough enough as a white male to move up the ranks in those industries. And being a father of three girls, being the chief chancellor of Junior Achievement University, where I was a student of Junior Achievement at 12, where there was no girls in my entire class, to where now over 50% with Junior Achievement are women. It's really important for people to know there is no luck or any compensation that we're given. And it takes an extraordinary effort in order to move up the ranks throughout all industries, let alone the ones that have been historically male dominated. What within your heart and soul, when you were going through school, told you to go against the grain, to not listen to the people who laugh, scoff, and make fun of you, who eventually applaud you, by the way. But what was it inside of you that said, you know what, F them, I'm not going to listen?
Yeah, well, I've always been really motivated and driven, and probably stemmed a little bit from the competition with my older brother growing up in various different sports. I was, as a kid, everybody wanted me to play softball, but I wanted to play baseball. And that was a great way kind of to start to learn that you can be successful and it really is genderless. But overall, through the years, I've really taken a lot of advantage of the various different opportunities that have been afforded to me. And I'm very much blessed in that sense, where I've had ability to take some risks and then take advantage from there and use those as jumping off points. Overall, I would say what I found is it's actually in many cases more awkward for the white male counterparts that I have when we're in discussions or you walk in a room. It's, hey, they've got an equally odd situation when they're used to dealing with the old boys club, and here comes this woman into the room. But I've also found that they are very, very supportive. And if you put yourself in a situation where you view yourself as an equal and a peer, they will do the same. And in many cases, those relationships, acquaintances, and friendships build upon that. And we're able to create the space to have the conversations that are more difficult to have. So overall, be willing to take some risks, put your mind to it, think that you can take on whatever it is that you want to take on. And as I've always said to my daughter, you can be both a mom and a CEO. You can have both. Don't let anyone tell you can't.
And you can have both of everything, is what I also love to tell the people I coach and my own children, is don't think in one or the other terms, think in terms of both. One of the other things that I see in your skill set of background is quantitative. A lot of times people focus in on these subjective values, emotional intelligence, which is very important. Adaptable intelligence will become even more important as we move forward. But I think your emotional intelligence and adaptable intelligence still rely on a foundation of a quantitative skill set, capability of being able to quantify things in terms of distribution, money, marketing, a lot of different things. And I'm looking through your background and your education, and you have a lot of great experience in quantifying value through financial education, through your own marketing and distribution experiences. How important it is, the math in what you do beyond, being a female and being the only one in the room a lot of times, which still occurs in your industry today. But in the end, numbers talk. I've learned that as an executive myself. How important is that skill set to learn how to put things into quantitative terms?
It is absolutely important. And I would say that in every decision, and it's funny because today here at the office, we have our emerging executive leaders coming in for a discussion. And exactly what I said to them was, you have to have the gut feel, but more than anything, you have to have a training that says, I understand the quantitative elements and I'm not going to bet the farm or bet the store, but rather, I take these experiences and the skill sets, I put them together, and I assess a situation to determine how much is gut feel and how much actually goes into the quantitative elements of that. So from my background, I started with a finance degree in undergrad, got my MBA from Notre Dame while I was working at Dover Corporation. And those experiences are invaluable to applying math to real life situations. But more than anything, when you go into a deal, an acquisition, an investment, you really have to understand the risk return profile. And that isn't based on emotional intelligence. It's based on, I understand the technical, the engineering, the marketing elements, but ultimately this does come down to math. And I would say that there's not a 10-minute period in my day that goes by that I'm not doing some form of mathematical analysis, whether in my head or on a spreadsheet. And that really does make a big difference in where the company is going to go and the success of it. And, you can make some bets that are going to end up being bad bets, but there's parameters to how bad of a bet you can make. And that's really, again, all based on math.
I know diversity is a huge issue within the industry, and Chart does such a great job of leading the way. And you being a female leader, I always find that great female leaders are capable of distinguishing, one, here are the leadership skill sets or inspirational things that we need to do, and you empower those people within your industry and your company to do those, but also have a very diplomatic but yet effective way of separating out. Not only do we do this as leaders, but really encouraging other female leaders or other minority leaders or diverse leaders in order to overcome maybe a perception of resistance or other things that may preclude them from being successful. How best do you articulate, the difference between just being a leader, but then being a realist and saying, okay, if you're going to be a leader and you have these attributes, here's some things you may want to do in order to make yourself equal, then make yourself better, to effectuate a more or higher statistical success. Are there some things you've learned over the years to dance that dance?
Yes, and I always start that discussion by saying, I don't want to be the best female CEO there is. I want to be the best CEO there is. And I think if you set that as the foundation and going into any situation, and then from there, you can say, all right, there are some things that there are hurdles. I mean, let's not mince words on that. There's definitely hurdles in situations where, whether it's minority or gender differences, but how do I take the most advantage of the opportunities that are afforded to me in the environment that I'm in? And so what we look for is folks that have a positive attitude. And then from there, we create the space to give them the opportunities, knowing that in some cases, whether it's geographic location, cultural diversity, or gender diversity, you actually have to make the opportunity and the space for them to have that chance. So at Chart, we do diversity and inclusion committees. We give back to the communities. We offer every single one of our team members one paid day off a year to volunteer at any of their charities. So that's really an exciting part of finding people and finding talent. And through that, you really find the fact that people start talking more and more. And so I think the number one thing is creating the space to have those conversations, regardless of what the topic is. But ultimately, I'll take somebody with a positive attitude and a great work ethic over somebody that's got 10, 20 degrees. And that's really what we look for.
And, I look for the same things, and added to that has now entered an open mind. And I think, especially because of the way that data is controlled, manipulated, and distributed, that an open mind is necessary to see multiple opinions and be able to assess what's aligned with the company's values and their own personal values. So I think work ethic, I've always been if I have a spirit animal, it's just a mule, right? I'll outwork you. I'm not going to quit. I'm not very pretty. I'm not very fast, not very talented, but I'm a mule. I'm a CEO mule. Just, walk beside me. I'll carry the load and I'll get it done. Positive attitude, obviously something I was born with, but this nuance of an open mind. How can executives determine if someone has a positive attitude? work ethic, I think we can determine really quickly in someone, but people fool us. Employees and overhead are two things that are great concerns of every executive of a company, especially in your industry. Positive outlook can be very deceptive at times because the real inners of people sometimes come out much later after the interviews and references have all poured in, and it can take years. How have you found the best way to really find that positive attitude person?
Well, it's definitely by putting them in a situation that isn't their normal comfort zone. And typically what I'll do is I like to spend time with all of our team members, regardless of what their job is. And I truly believe that you can't expect folks to work harder than you do. And so that really goes to, if I'm asking people to work a double shift out on the shop floor, I should be out there walking with them. But I also think that if you just let everybody continue to do the same thing they always have done, you're never going to see what their real attitude is in a situation that is uncomfortable for them. So I like to do it through various different puzzle games in a conversation. We have these games, like there's a board game called Moby, which is a math competition game where you move tiles around and do equations, and they're timed. And you really see the people band together and how they work as a team. And so much more so through, I would say, social situations than, hey, are you willing to take on project A, or are you willing to get on a plane and go to India tomorrow? Those give you some semblance of it, but there's always that paycheck there. That's the motivator. I like to see it where, hey, let's get down and dirty and let's bet $1 on this board game and see how you like this competition, and let's go. And can you come out the other end smiling and having a beer with me?
That is awesome. And we maybe have to venture in that next season with me being a Buckeye fan and you being a Notre Dame fan. I'm going to crush the interview at the end. I am on the board of the Rose Bowl, though. So one of my favorite, the granddaddy of them all. Now, last thing, it's interesting I came from nothing. And one of the biggest challenges I had with my success, and you've won the LNG Executive of the Year. You've won all types of different awards from Exxon and up. I mean, the top echelons, basically you have the Heisman of executives. But what comes out when we put the effort in and we have a positive attitude, for me, I had a difficult time with humility. The awards, and I still at times pinch myself because of the blessings that I've had, and I have to daily remind myself to be humble and to be gracious and thankful. And it's difficult at times because, there's a lot of people that didn't want me to succeed or worked against me or didn't believe in me. Or even today on social media, there's trolls and haters and all of those. And sometimes I just feel like I want to send out to the world, my own. I had a person on a podcast about brag, a way to a PR person on how to brag about yourself. And yet I know, right? That's the cringe I had or how to self-promote. But you've done an extraordinary job of getting rid of that side of you that you have to prove anything. And it's so easy when you win these awards and you have the success to kind of gloat and put it in people's faces. What have you found to be a tool that you use to kind of remind yourself when you get into the ego-based consciousness of wanting to promote or feeling that you deserve something? I feel humility to me is my greatest grace, and I see it in your background and history. What have you used to empower yourself to be humble or radically humble like you are?
Well, I truly believe that the company and even the individual awards that I've received are actually not the result of anything I've done, but rather the team that's around me. And I would have nothing if it weren't for the fantastic team at Chart, both my direct reports as well as every single one of the employees that comes to work every day. So that's the foundation of how I think every day. I'm thankful to have a job every day. Every single day, my family says to each other, count your blessings. And I think if there's count your blessings, stay safe and vigilant are the mantras of the household. So I think if you continue to just say, I'm really blessed, like you, I didn't come from a rich background by any stretch, but I had a really great upbringing with parents that said you could do anything if you put your mind to it, but also keep your head down and stay focused, and you will get rewarded for it. But heck, I hope that the Chart team listens to this, because none of this would happen without any of them.
That is awesome. And last thing real quick, you are a mother as well. You keep a great weighted, I call it a weighted balance. You know, it's a disservice to people when you take someone like Jill and say, oh, she lives such a balanced life. That's probably BS. But you are able to maintain a weighted balance according to great values. But probably the biggest priority in your life is your 7-year-old daughter. And I'd love to hear when your 7-year-old daughter tells you, and you asked her, you told me earlier that, you know, what do you want to be? And she says, I want to be a mommy. You know, what is your response truly to that? Because I think that'll show people the vision and weighted balance that you have in your life, and how we can encourage and empower the next generation to have that positive, open, aggressive work ethic.
Well, first, I always say you're not even close to considering becoming a mommy, so that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Can you talk to my teenage daughters as well?
Yeah.
Great point.
But seriously,
we should end it there. Forget it. Great advice.
No, but seriously, it's there are a lot of times where I can't be there for her, and the best thing is, hey, we have this time together if it's a Saturday, and let's go spend quality time together. And that's really what I think keeps that balance. And heck, she calls me out on it. Half the time, I'm talking to our board of directors, getting advice, and I should just call her up and say, what should I do here? I don't know. Right. I don't know, mommy. Why would you consider doing that? So yeah, there's wisdom at all ages.
Yeah. What I've learned with 4 children is, 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. And thank goodness for FaceTime and Zoom and other things that I have. Although we're not traveling the 200 days that I normally do, I have found, to me, the constant connection of telling them, just do your best, tell me what you learn, and have fun. Those 3 things have really helped. And I'm sure I see that in your career and your background with not only the organization, but your family as well. Thank you so much for coming on the Playbook and for teaching us this weighted balance of success and humility. You're an extraordinary example, not only for my daughters and yours, but for an entire community as we look for progress, not perfection. And I think you could be the poster child for progress, not perfection, when it comes to diversity and inclusion, and in an industry that's still not very diverse. So thank you for leading the way. I'm here with Jill Evanko, CEO and president of Chart Industries, Inc. Here, David Meltzer, Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.